Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, Eating Peace inquirers, those so interested and eager in eating peace. Welcome. Today is Friday, June 12th, and I'm going to talk today as briefly as possible about two key stories. Let's call stories like perceptions, interpretations, thoughts, realms, ideas. Once upon a time, two key stories that are really important to question, I found in my personal experience when it comes to eating peace. And they both might seem like fairly heavy volumes, but let's take a look. We're going to be looking at 8 of them in this upcoming basics course. 8 stories to question when it comes to eating peace. But I always share off and on the bits and pieces of these stories on YouTube here for anyone who needs help with this very difficult problem, this tormented problem sometimes, right? Eating off balance. Okay, so 2 of the stories. The way I first like to see the first one is that there's something out there that's happening to me that is so dreadful and scary or sparks feelings of difficulty. And I, in a way, don't have the power to change that. I'm too much of a scaredy cat. I'm too anxious. I have too many big feelings, too hard. I just get overwhelmed with compulsion. I don't know how to change this. I've tried everything. Can't stop. Hard story, right? There's something out there that happens and then I get triggered, and it just comes over me like a magic wand was waved, only an evil one or a negative one, something that's difficulty, very difficult. The problem with holding this story is that there's me, and then it's like sort of whatever this is that I am. And then there's the world, which is dangerous. There's people, there's food, there's buffets, there's scales, there's acceptance and non-acceptance and judgment out there. And I have to contend with it, and it's very difficult. The way I like to see the counteract to that story, or a new way to write that story, is to this amazing idea. What if everything that I'm relating to, even though it seems like it's happening in current time and into the future and unrolling itself, even if it's been repetitive, that it's something about the way I am actually seeing things, the way I'm seeing it. Like I could be mistaken in the way I'm immediately thinking about how the world is, like those people, the judgments, the ideas about what's supposed to happen when it comes to food and eating and the body weight. You know, I'm supposed to be calm all the time. I'm supposed to eat just this right amount. I'm supposed to eat vegetables all day, or at every meal, not all day, right? I'm supposed to be this exact amount of weight. Sometimes people have that amount in their head, and it started when they were 14. There's the number. There's all these rules and regulations, and that's because I've learned that from the world, and then I've just adopted it for myself. But what if we could question all of it? What if it's possible to change the perception that there's a right way and a wrong way to do this eating, to be with food? The mind will be like, oh my God, gasp. There is not a right. There is right or wrong. I know what it looks like. I've experienced wrong. I've done it wrong. It's been horrible. I've wasted years of my life. I've tried everything. I've been on every kind of diet. I've gained and lost weight. You know, there's lots and lots and lots of proof that begins to kind of explode out of that, right? All the dreadful sorrow and all the suffering. Can't get it right. Can't get it right. Somebody said to me not long ago, who was practicing this work, I've been doing this for 50 something years. 50 something years. That's a pretty huge, heavy weighted thought. You know, I've been doing it wrong this whole time. I can't get it right. But let's just question that. It's just noticing everything that goes with that perception. There's an outside world and an inside world, and it's doing stuff to me, which is the amazing thing that Byron Katie says, which is everything happens for you, not to you or at you. And I know it doesn't seem that way. Let's have a little compassion, a little compassionate inquiry about it. I love bringing a lot of compassion, actually, loving kindness to everything we've ever felt that really feels disruptive and off balance and weird and tricky, difficult. But this whole relationship with food and eating and having the body the right way, what if we really could question our thinking, our beliefs, and find something different? What if inquiry was all that was required, not dieting and training and hours of torturous exercise outside or at the gym? Doesn't mean you'll never do exercise. I love to move and exercise, but doing it peacefully and joyfully. Like, what if I could shift something about what is inside of me, even the way I'm seeing the world, even everything that's ever happened, and have food and eating and the body actually change? I mean, what if that was possible? Just nice to notice the potential here. We've all had the experience of believing something was the truth or getting really hurt in some area, and then realizing we might have been mistaken, even if it seems very small. I might not have the whole entire clear picture. I might not see everything about that person or that situation or what went down absolutely accurately. I might not even know what I don't know, but I know that I don't know something here about food and eating and dieting and overeating and emotions. Oof, oh, those emotions. I could have made some assumptions about emotions and weight and what's needed for happiness, what I need to do to stop my feelings. So I could have made some assumptions. That's basically, it's a huge idea and a story, but it's basically the idea that I can question what I'm believing and perceiving in any one given moment, and it might change everything about the energy between me and food and me and eating and me and having a body. I could be surprised, unexpectedly, delightedly surprised. So it's just opening up to, if your mind says, no, that's not possible. I already know the way physics works and science and eating, and I almost have a PhD in nutrition. I know what foods are good and what foods are bad. I've got that. I understand it. I just don't do it right. Just good to open up to noticing, could inquiry lead me down a path of just being available to rest and relaxation, if nothing more, and more opening up to the don't know mind and seeing what might happen instead of all the, the story has been really, really rigidly in place, like starting when I was about 8 and my mother was on Weight Watchers. It just started to be dangerous. The story of food and eating and gaining and losing weight started to be dangerous. Scary nightmare of a story, actually, as time went by. Could we question that? Could we question what we think is most frightening and most simple and most mundane and most childish, and have something shift in here that would wind up changing, or where we'd have a different experience of the moment that we're meeting reality in the form of food? So we'll just keep it simple right there. The other story is one I kind of began to mention already, which is our thoughts, our attitudes, our beliefs, our perceptions about feelings, especially uncomfortable feelings, memories that call up feelings. We all know what it's like to watch a movie and you don't even know these people, and it's a story that's told, and you're crying in the story, right? We are easily moved. The body is like sort of like a lightning rod in a way for accessing how we feel about things, like our perceptions of the world. And they're not wrong, but whatever we're feeling matches images or ideas or beliefs. And when it's really uncomfortable, wonderful to let it in and not run from it, not avoid it. It could be that we're believing something we're not even quite aware of, or we don't even quite remember perfectly. Some sort of set in stone thought that isn't actually as set in stone as we think. So those harsh thoughts about the self and those harsh thoughts about feelings, if I have grief or fear or worry or discomfort, it's like just the simple one. Let's take, for example, it's just not safe for me to be around food. Something always goes wrong with it. I overeat it, I undereat it, I have to get rid of it. It's never a friend to me. And then you start to feel really uncomfortable and sad and despairing and like it's nothing, never going to change. 50 plus years it's been this way. Those kinds of ideas and thoughts, just really uncomfortable feelings, really despairing, upset, depressed. Just noticing what the mind has to say about those feelings. These are wrong. Get rid of them. You need to be happy. You need to be calm. Don't get worried. Don't get too upset. Don't get lonely. It just starts to get like as if this disrupted feeling inside, which we've often is like so normal for anyone with any kind of addictive process that we're calling addiction, want to avoid that or get away from it or shut it down. Just kind of automatically how we're built and something that happens in us. But that story, bad feelings are bad. Bad feelings are really bad to have. Got to get rid of them. Got to shut them down. Kind of the same attitude as we've had towards lots of food and eating. So what if we just questioned that story, that second story? What if our feelings are messengers? Not necessarily comfortable. I'm not saying it's easy, but noticings. A way to see something that I might be thinking and believing, even an unconscious thing that I'm thinking and believing. If it was offering me something, hey, take a look, take a closer look here. There might be some way that you're perceiving things. You've got glasses on that look really harsh or judgmental or make you very small, unable to have any sense of personal power or awareness. Just that fear that would happen. I would have a strong feeling or even anger in my life. And it took me a while to realize when I felt anger, like defense or harshness towards somebody, that's not fair that they're thinking of me that way or speaking to me that way. I would almost immediately want to shut it down because nice people are not angry. I shouldn't even feel this anger. It's really bad. And I would sort of like turn into a panic. And then I'd want to avoid, and very quickly, I'd begin to want to eat something to sweeten the moment, sweeten the feeling. So only you can know, only each one of us can know the flow of what's happening in the moment, but just noticing our judgments about feelings themselves. If you're not sure what you think about feelings, you can see those other people in the world feeling feelings. If they were super expressive with their feelings, Notice if there's anyone who you judge and say, God, I wish they would just like put a lid on it or tone it down a little. Do they have to be so big about that? If they're angry or sad or depressed, just notice your perceptions or your judgments about those people that have strong feelings, even kind of urge, craving feelings. Noticing the harshness or the judgment about urges and wanting. So, what I like to do, we're always invited to do here with the work, is write down our stressful thoughts. It's great. Just pop out. No wrong way to do it. Here they come. Just write. If it feels like you're 5 years old, no problem. Write down your thoughts about food and eating and your body. And what I love about the work of Byron Katie is 4 questions and finding turnarounds. Simple, not necessarily easy. Simple, though. If you get confused about where you are, you can come back. First question, second question, third question, fourth question. And it is a meditation. It's wondering, but it's possible, just the right amount at a time. You don't have to understand your whole life, but just noticing, yes, I can inquire and shift how I'm perceiving a moment. So I found that to be true. I thought nothing will ever change, so terrible, I'll never feel good about this. Not true. That's that first story. If I inquire, if I question, if I become aware, I can find peace. True. And the second story, what are my attitudes about big feelings? Are they harsh and judgmental? I shut them down. I want to get away from them. One of the best ways to get away from big feelings is to go into some sort of compulsive process, whether it's eating, smoking, drinking, drugs, spending, doing something. Can I be safe without doing anything? Yes. So those 2 initial stories about thoughts and feelings are amazing places to begin this journey or continue this journey. And we'll be looking more thoroughly at them. I like to call the first one spell breaking. It feels like you're in a spell when you're believing and thinking things that are super difficult, that cause a lot of suffering, that feel like you just need to eat about it. Great to question those stories and great to question your stories about feelings themselves. So, ultimately, letting things be the way they are, even if it feels a bit like a roller coaster ride. Knowing anything that I think that is stressful in any way, I can question. Because the very piece of the fact that I have stress alone about this story, about some way that I'm perceiving something, is an invitation to notice I might not have the whole picture. I might not have something exactly right here. That's why there's stress. So, who would I be without my story? Food, eating, the body, and feelings. All right. It's a big one, but great place to get started. Journaling is one of the most wonderful things you can do, because then you can identify and see what it is you actually think and then take it through the 4 questions. So below this video, I'll make sure you've got the 4 questions in case you're a new person to the work. And you can also check out thework.com to see the work of Byron Katie in action there and get all the tools you need. And we'll be using the work in Eating Peace Basics that's coming up. But you can do this yourself. You can do this work yourself. All right. Lots of love, everybody. Take good care.